too many people are just thinking about the total picture and not understanding home ownership is designed for you to build wealth, but you can't build wealth when you're putting all of your income just directly into the property. So you have a lot of financial responsibility as well when it comes to being a homeowner. So when I broke that down, what is your budget? You know what your budget is. So if you're already paying rent somewhere, which most of you are, and if you're not paying rent anywhere, calculate what you want to contribute towards your overhead. Because you think about a mortgage, your mortgage payment does not include your light bill. It does not include maintenance. It does not include your water bill. It doesn't include groceries. Like it doesn't include what you need to live. So when you work on that, create a very comprehensive budget and don't go beyond that because you have to plan for the long-term commitment. One thing I always say about buying a property that you have to understand, the purchase price that you use to buy the property is stuck to you forever. You can't renegotiate the purchase price. You can go back and renegotiate what the interest rate is and refinance and possibly get a lower monthly payment. But the way that the economy is going now and the interest rates are going now, who can predict when the rates are going to be low enough to refinance? So always go into it the first time being very cognizant of what you want to spend per month.
Okay. All right. Let's go. Now you have a slide with housing related expenses.
Jump to that.
So yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So let's just talk about some housing related expenses that you need to include, right? You have your monthly mortgage payment, and your monthly mortgage payment includes your actual mortgage amount that you financed, the interest that you're paying back on the loan, as well as if you have to pay private mortgage insurance, that dollar amount will also be included inside of your monthly payment. You have to pay your property taxes, which is considered your escrows. And your property taxes, that's one thing that does fluctuate. Your property taxes is one thing that fluctuates that most people do not account for. I saw this big thing on TikTok. So let's just address this head on. People are like, wow, my property taxes went up. My property taxes went up so high. No one told me about it. Well, it's a fluctuating expense. And the reason that it goes up if the value of the area that you purchased in actually appreciates in value. So let me explain to you what a value appreciation is so you know. No, you may not like increased property taxes, but why it benefits you in the long run. If you buy a property for $500,000 and in 2 years, that house is now evaluated for $600,000, 500,000 minus that from 600,000, you have $100,000 in equity. That means your home is now worth an additional $100,000 from the time that you purchased it. So when the tax assessor goes back out to the property and assess your values, they're going to increase your taxes because now your home is valued at more. That benefits you if you want to do a couple things. One, let's just say you suddenly need to sell your house and move to New York. You want to just hang out with EYL. If you need to sell your house and move from Atlanta to New York, you put your house on the market, you have that difference in equity. And you could actually try to make the numbers in the market, sell it for $600,000 after agent fees. You'll come home with probably $70,000, right? That is what equity is. That's why it's so valuable. But if you just hold on to the property and in a couple more years, you want to actually do a equity line of credit, a home equity line of credit, where you say, hey, bank, my house is now worth $600,000. I need $50,000. Can I leverage this house and get $50,000 to start my own business? That is why equity is so important. So yes, your taxes will go up because they fluctuate, but getting home equity is something you should be proud of as a homeowner. Who wants to buy in an area that's not appreciating? That defeats the purpose of home ownership.
So
go ahead.
Here's a question inside of that, right? Because a lot of people will be doing renovations on their home, they're upgrading their home, right? How often is the tax assessor coming, right? Is it every 6 months? Is it 1 year, every 2 years, so that people can prepare? Because a lot of times people will allocate their budget based on what the property tax is now. Obviously, as you do improvements, that will go up, hopefully, if you're in the right area. How often is that guy or that woman coming?
They don't actually come out to your property. They look at what has been sold in the area. So you're thinking about a tax assessor. It's all digital. They're just looking at what has been sold in the area. So if your neighbor sells their property and they did some upgrades, it's going to affect you. They're going to look, oh, so this house actually just sold for 700,000. We have no idea what you did inside of your property, but what we're going to do is say, now this entire area is worth this dollar amount. So when these things happen consistently, the only time someone is going into your property, and I don't want to get too ahead of the game, is when you get an appraisal. You guys know what an appraisal is. So an appraisal will go into your property when you're ready to sell your property, or as a homeowner, if a home buyer, if you're ready to buy a property, your lender will not give you any money. There is no lender in the United States of America that will lend you money without you getting an appraisal. An appraisal is a third-party company. So no, you can't just say, I'm calling my friend, that's an appraiser, and they're going to come out and tell me what this house is worth. That's not how it works. A lender will assign an appraiser to your actual file. The appraiser goes out and they will compare the condition of the property that you're interested in purchasing to 3 other properties that have sold on the market. When you get your appraisal back, they're going to measure the square footage of the home. They're going to look at the condition. They're going to look at market conditions. And then they're going to tell you, let's say you place an offer on a house for 500,000, the appraiser is going to say, hey, this house is worth 500,000, which is great. Or they're going to say, hey, you got a deal. This house is worth 550,000. That means you have instant equity. Or if they come back and say, this house is only worth 475,000. Let's just say that does happen. That means it's coming in below the actual price that you said you would purchase it for. That is your agent's responsibility to submit an amendment to reduce the purchase price, a copy of the appraisal, and advocate on your behalf to say they're not going to pay the difference. The lender is not going to pay the difference. And I'm only going to buy this property for what it is worth. So that kind of leads into why you need a real estate professional. A lot of times, y'all don't understand the contingencies, when you're supposed to get money back, what you're supposed to do. And that's what happens with an appraisal. So all of that kind of leads into like your taxes. But to further answer the question, yes, it is important that your home is appraised at value when you walk in. So that way you can have appreciation and equity when you have, in the instance you're trying to get out of it.